good evening, and welcome to this long, quiet hour. A whole hour of gentle stories and slow breathing, with nothing at all for you to do but lie here and listen and let the night carry you. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever stood beside a river in the dark? Not a roaring river, not rapids or falls, just a quiet river moving through the countryside at night. You cannot see it clearly, but you can hear it. That low, continuous murmur, like a voice that has been speaking since before you were born and will go on speaking long after you are gone. It does not raise its voice. It does not repeat itself. It simply moves, always forward, always finding its way. Tonight, that river is going to teach you something. Not with words exactly, with stories. 8 old stories from the East, passed down through centuries, about water and the wisdom of water, about flowing instead of fighting, about softness that overcomes hardness, about letting go of the shape you think you need to be and becoming something wider and deeper and far more free. You do not have to remember any of it. You do not have to stay awake for any of it. The river does not care whether you're watching. It flows just as well in the dark, just as well while you sleep. So let your eyes close. Let your body sink into the bed, heavy and warm. Take a long breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth, slow and soft, like water pouring out a tilted cup. Again, in filling and out emptying. There is nowhere to go tonight. The river knows the way. Let's begin. The first story is not really a story at all. It is an observation made 25 centuries ago by a man who spent most of his life watching things that other people walked past without noticing. His name was Lao Tzu. He lived in China in the time of warring kingdoms when powerful men fought over land and titles and the right to call themselves great. Generals raised armies. Philosophers wrote long books about how to conquer and govern and control. The whole world, it seemed, was straining upward, grabbing, competing, trying to be the highest, the strongest, the most important. And Lao Tzu, who was a quiet man with a long memory, watched all of this and said something that no one expected. The highest good, he said, is like water, not like a mountain, not like a fortress, not like a sword or a crown or a wall. Like water, the softest thing in the world. Water gives life to 10,000 things and does not compete with any of them. It flows to the low places that everyone else avoids. It does not climb. It does not push. It does not stand tall and demand to be noticed. It sinks always to the lowest ground and pools there quiet and still, and from that low place it nourishes everything above it. That is why, said Lao Tzu, it is close to the way things truly are. He said something else too, and this is the part that has puzzled and comforted people for 2,000 years. The softest thing in the world, he said, overcomes the hardest thing in the world. Water is softer than anything, and yet it carves through stone, not by fighting the stone, not by striking it, just by touching it gently over and over for a very long time. The generals did not listen, of course. Generals had herido. They went on fighting, and their kingdoms rose and fell like waves, and most of their names have been forgotten. But the old man who watched water is still remembered. His words are still read by candlelight and lamplight and the glow of phones in dark bedrooms all over the world, by people who are tired of fighting and ready, at last, to flow. and you are one of them tonight, lying here in the lowest, softest place in your whole day. The bed, the dark, the quiet. You have spent the day climbing, competing, pushing, holding your ground. And now, like water, you have flowed down to the place where everything rests. The low place, the good place. Let your breath be like water, soft and low and unhurried, in and out. And the first story sinks into you the way rain sinks into the earth, without effort, without sound. The moon has risen a little higher, and the second story comes from a kitchen of all places. A kitchen in ancient China where a man is cutting meat and doing it so beautifully that a king stops to watch. His name was Cook Ting. He was a butcher, a man who spent his days taking apart oxen for the table of Lord Wenhui. It was not a noble profession. No one wrote poems about butchers. No one bowed when they passed in the street. But Cook Ting had been doing his work for 19 years. And in those 19 years, something extraordinary had happened to the way he moved. One day, Lord Wenhui came to watch, and what he saw made him forget he was a king. Cook Ting placed his hands on the ox. He leaned in, and then his knife began to move. Not with effort, not with force. It moved the way music moves, the way a dancer moves when the dance is so familiar that the body no longer thinks about it. The blade glided through the joints, between the tendons, along the spaces where bone and sinew parted of their own accord. There was no hacking, no sewing, no straggle. The meat fell away in clean, heavy folds, and the sound it made was like a whisper, like silk tearing softly, like a breeze through tall grass. The whole ox came apart in minutes, and when it was done, Cook Ting stood back and wiped his blade and looked satisfied, and there was not a mark on the knife. Not a scratch, not a nick. After 19 years, his blade was as sharp and clean as the day it was forged. Lord Wenhui stared. "That is remarkable," he said. "How do you do it?" Cook Ting set down his knife. "When I first began," he said, "all I could see was the whole ox. It was overwhelming. I hacked and sawed and forced my way through, and I dulled 3 blades in the first year. After 3 years, I stopped seeing the whole ox. I began to see the spaces, the gaps between the joints, the tiny openings where the tendons do not quite meet the bone. I learned to guide my blade through those spaces where there is no resistance at all. My knife passes through emptiness. That is why it never dulls. A good butcher," he said, "changes his blade once a year because he cuts through muscle. An ordinary butcher changes his blade once a month because he hacks through bone. I have used this blade for 19 years, and its edge is as though it has never touched anything at all, because it has not. It has only passed through the spaces between things." Lord Wenhui was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I came to learn about butchering, and instead I have learned how to live." This story was told by Chuang Tzu, the same sage who dreamed he was a butterfly, the same man who refused to be prime minister so he could drag his tail in the mud. And he told it because he wanted to say something about the way water lies. Water does not cut through rock by hitting it harder. It finds the cracks, the tiny fissures, the places where the stone is already willing to part. And it flows through those places effortlessly, and the stone opens around it as if it had been waiting. Your life is full of joints and tendons and hard places where things seem stuck. And all day you've been pushing against them, forcing your way through. But tonight, you could be the knife that finds the spaces. You can let your breath flow through the gaps, between the worries, between the plans, between the thoughts that feel like bone. There's always a space. There's always a place where things are willing to part. If you stop forcing and start feeling for the opening. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, let the breath find its own way, the way water finds a crack in a rock, the way cooked ting's blade found the space between the joints. No effort, no hacking, just a long, slow glide into the quiet between things. And while you glide, the third story arrives. This one comes from the desert, and it is about a river that forgot what it was. Once long ago, a river was born in the mountains. It began as a trickle of snow melt, a thread of bright cold water sliding down a mossy rock. It joined other trickles and became a stream. The stream joined other streams and became a river. And the river ran down through the foothills, through forests of pine and birch, through green valleys where cattle stood in the shallows and children swam in the summer. The river was strong and sure of itself. It knew exactly what it was. It was water flowing downhill, following the shape of the land, finding its way to the sea. It had always known the way. It did not need a map. It simply followed the pull of the low places, the way all water does, and the land opened before it, and everything it touched was made green. But one day, the river reached the desert. It came out of the last valley, out of the last green grass, and spread across the sand. And for the first time in its life, the river did not know what to do. The sand drank it. Everywhere it tried to flow, the sand swallowed it. It pushed harder, and the sand swallowed more. It spread itself wider, thinner, trying to reach the far side, and the sand drank it down until there was nothing left but a damp patch in the dust. The river had never met anything it could not flow through. And now, here at the edge of the great desert, it was disappearing. From the desert came a voice. It was the wind, or perhaps it was the sand, or perhaps it was something older than either. You cannot cross the desert the way you have crossed everything else, said the voice. If you try to push through as a river, the sand will swallow you. You must let go of your shape. You must let the wind carry you. The river was afraid. Let go of my shape, it said. But my shape is who I am. I am a river. I have banks and a current and a bed of smooth stones. If I let go of all that, what will I be? You will be what you have always been, said the voice. Water. You were mist once, before you were a river. You rose from the sea as vapor, and the wind carried you to the mountains, and the cold made you fall as rain, and the rain became the stream that became you. You have done this before. You have simply forgotten. The river was very still. It listened to the wind moving across the sand, warm and dry and patient. And then, slowly, the river began to let go. It released its banks. It released its current. It released the smooth stones it had carried for 100 miles. It rose little by little into the warm air, becoming vapor, becoming mist, becoming something without shape, without weight, without a name. The wind took it, gently, the way a mother picks up a sleeping child. It carried the mist across the desert, high above the sand, over the dunes and the dry wadis and the places where nothing green had grown for 1,000 years. And on the other side, where the mountains began again, the air grew cool, and the mist became cloud, and the cloud became rain, and the rain fell sweet and clean, into a new valley. And there, between the mossy rocks, a river was born again. The same water, the same river, only it had crossed something it could not have crossed by force. And it had done it by becoming, for a little while, something it did not recognize. Dear friend, perhaps you are at a desert tonight. Perhaps there is something in your life that you cannot push through, cannot flow around, cannot find a way across. The sand drinks every effort you make, and you are tired and you do not know what to do. The old story says, let go of your shape, not forever, just for the night. Let the wind of sleep carry you across. You will be you again in the morning with your banks and your current and your smooth stones. But tonight, you do not need to be a river. You can be mist. You can be carried. Breathe in, light as vapor, and breathe out and feel yourself rising just a little off the heavy ground of the day. The wind has you. Let it carry you. The moon is high now, and the fourth story is about an old man in a boat singing in the rain. In the old kingdom of Chu, there was a river called the Songlong. It was a beautiful river, wide and slow, and in the spring the willows along its banks trailed their branches in the current like long green fingers. One evening, a young official stood on the bank of the Songlong. He was in trouble. He had spoken honestly to the king, and the king had not liked what he heard. And now the young man was in exile, far from the capital, far from his family, far from everything he had worked for. He stood on the muddy bank in his torn robes and looked at the water and felt that the whole world was unfair. And then, from the mist on the river, he heard singing. An old fisherman was rowing toward him in a small boat, his nets piled behind him, his face brown and creased like a walnut. He was singing an old song, and the song went like this. When the water of the Songlong is clear, I wash my hat strings in it. When the water of the Songlong is muddy, I wash my feet in it. The young official called out, Old man, what does your song mean? The fisherman rested his oars and looked at the young man on the bank, with his torn robes and his bitter face. It means what it says, he said. When the water is clear, I use it for fine things. When the water is muddy, I use it for rough things. I do not stand on the bank and shout at the river for being muddy. I do not wait for it to become clear before I use it. I take the water as it comes, and I find a use for it, whatever it is. Clear or muddy, the river is still the river, and I am still the fisherman. Then he picked up his oars and rowed away into the mist, still singing. The young official stood on the bank for a long time after the boat had disappeared. The story does not say whether he understood, but the song has been sung along that river for more than 2,000 years, which suggests that someone did. And the wisdom of it is very simple and very difficult. You cannot choose the water. Some days the river runs clear and everything goes the way you planned, and your hat strings come out clean and bright. And some days the river runs muddy, thick with silt and rain, and nothing works, and the people you trusted let you down, and the king does not want to hear the truth. But the fisherman does not stand on the bank and refuse to live because the water is wrong. He steps in, he washes what he can, he finds a use for what he is given, and he rows home singing. Tonight, the water of your life may be clear or muddy. It does not matter. You are the fisherman, not the river. You do not need the water to be any particular way before you can rest. Whatever kind of day it was, muddy or clear, it is done. And you are here, and the mist is closing in soft and gray, and the old man is rowing away into the dark, still singing his simple song. Breathe in and breathe out, and let the river be whatever it is tonight. You do not need to change it. You only need to float on it, gently, and let it carry you downstream toward morning. The fifth story is the smallest and the slowest. It takes place over 1,000 years, and nothing happens in it but a single drop of water falling. In a temple in the mountains, a young monk was given a task. He was told to sit in a cave beneath the temple and meditate. The cave was cool and damp, and from a crack in the ceiling, a single drop of water fell once every few seconds onto a flat stone on the floor. Drip, and then silence, and then drip again. At first, the young monk found it maddening. The rhythm was too slow to ignore and too steady to forget. It was always there at the edge of his attention, like a finger tapping on his shoulder. Drip, and drip, and drip, he complained to his teacher. How can I meditate with that sound? His teacher smiled. Do not meditate despite the sound, he said. Meditate with it. Listen to what the water is doing. The young monk went back to the cave, annoyed but obedient. He sat on his cushion and he listened. Drip, and drip, and drip, and slowly, over days, over weeks, the annoyance faded, and he began to hear something else in the sound. Something patient, something ancient, something that had been going on for far longer than he had been alive. He looked at the stone beneath the drip, and there, in the center of the stone, he saw it. A hollow, a smooth, perfect bowl worn into the hard rock by nothing but that single drop, falling over and over for centuries. The stone was granite. The water was soft, and yet the water had carved the stone slowly, gently, without anger, without hurry, without any desire to win. The monk sat with this for a very long time, and the story says he understood something that all the books in the temple library could not have taught him, that the softest thing, repeated with patience, overcomes the hardest thing, not by force, by faithfulness, by simply showing up again and again in the same place with the same gentle touch for as long as it takes. The water did not hate the stone. The water did not want to destroy the stone. The water simply fell because that is what water does. And the stone, over time, opened because that is what stone does when it is touched gently enough for long enough. You are doing this too, though you may not see it yet. Every night you lie down and close your eyes. Every night you breathe in and breathe out and let the day fall away. And every night, something in you softens a little. Some hard place, some old stone of worry or grief or anger is being slowly, gently, quietly worn smooth by the patient dripping of these dark, still hours. You cannot see the hollow yet. It is being carved too slowly, but it is there, and one day you will look down and find that the hard thing has opened, and you will not be able to say exactly when it happened, only that it did drop by drop, night by night, while you slept. Drip and breathe. Drip and breathe. Let the sound carry you deeper. There is no hurry. The water has all the time in the world. The sixth story is about a question that a samurai asked a monk, and the answer the monk gave without saying a word. In the time of the old wars, a samurai came to a mountain temple. He was a proud man, scarred from many battles, and he wore his two swords the way other men wore their skin, as if he had been born with them. He found the old monk sitting in the garden, watching a stream that ran through the temple grounds. The monk was very still. His hands were folded. His eyes were open but unfocused, as if he were looking at something behind the water. The samurai sat down beside him, uninvited, and asked his question. "I have fought in many battles," he said. "I have won some and lost some, but I have never been truly unbeatable. Tell me, old man, how do I become invincible? How do I find a strength that no one can overcome?" The monk did not answer. Instead, he reached behind him where a clay pitcher of water sat on a stone, and he poured water into a cup that stood between them. He poured slowly until the cup was full. Then he tipped the cup over. The water spilled out onto the ground. It ran between the stones, found a low places, spread and seeped, and pooled in every crack and dip in the garden floor. The samurai watched it, irritated. "What does this teach me?" he asked. The monk said, "Did you see the waterfall?" "Of course." "Did it break?" The samurai frowned. "Water cannot break." The monk nodded. "Strike it with your sword." The samurai stared at the puddle on the ground. He drew his sword and brought it down, hard, into the water. The blade hit the stone beneath it with a sharp ring. The water splashed and settled, and was exactly as it had been before. "It has no shape," said the monk, "so nothing can shatter it. It has no pride, so nothing can humiliate it. It does not stand tall, so nothing can push it over. It goes only where there is space, so nothing can block it. And it is always moving, always finding the next low place, so nothing can trap it." He looked at the samurai with steady, quiet eyes. "You want to be invincible? Stop trying to be hard. Everything that is hard can be broken. Be soft. Be like the water. It has no enemies because it does not fight. It has no weakness because it takes no shape. It cannot be defeated because it never enters the contest." The samurai sat very still for a long time after that, and the story does not say whether he put down his swords, but it says he never forgot the cup of water, tipping slowly, spilling onto the stones, finding every low place without trying, yielding to every surface without losing anything. And you, lying in the dark, you do not need a sword tonight. You do not need to be hard or sharp or unbreakable. You could be the water on the stones, soft, low, shapeless, finding the quiet places in the dark, the cracks between the worries, the low ground where sleep collects. Nothing can fight you if you're not fighting. Nothing can break you if you have no shape to break. Breathe in, soft as water. Breathe out, finding the low place. And let yourself pool there, warm and still, in the deepest hollow of the night. The seventh story is about two rivers and the difference between them. In the mountains of the West, two rivers were born on the same peak, on the same rainy morning, from the same gray cloud. They ran down opposite sides of the mountain, each one heading for the sea, each one starting with the same water, the same slope, the same journey ahead. The first river was angry from the beginning. It hit the first rock in its path and crashed against it. It foamed. It roared. It threw itself at every boulder, every ledge, every fallen tree. It would not go around. It would not slow down. It fought the mountain every inch of the way, carving sharp gullies, tearing at its own banks, running white and loud through narrow canyons. The sound it made could be heard for miles, a long, furious shout that echoed off the cliffs. People who lived along its banks said, "That river is powerful. Listen to it roar. The second river met the same rocks, but it did not fight them. It flowed around them. When it met a boulder, it parted, went left and right, and joined again on the other side. When it met a fallen tree, it rose a little, slipped over or under, and continued. When the slope grew steep, it did not hurl itself down in a single furious cascade. It found a gentler gradient, wound back and forth across the hillside in wide, slow curves, and arrived at the bottom without a splash. It was quiet. Its surface was smooth. Fish lived in it. Deer drank from it at dusk. Willows grew tall along its banks because the soil was never torn away. People who live along its banks said, "That river is beautiful. Listen to how still it is." Both rivers reached the sea, but the first river arrived shallow, half empty, its water lost to spray and evaporation and the violence of its own passage. Its bed was scraped down to bare rock. Nothing grew along its banks. It had fought so hard to get here that by the time it arrived, there was almost nothing left of it. The second river arrived full, deep, calm. Its water was clear because it had never been churned. Its banks were green because it had never torn them. It flowed into the sea with a sound so quiet that you had to kneel on the sand and press your ear to the water to hear it. A long, low murmur, the sound of something that had enjoyed the journey. This is not a story anyone told in a temple. It is a story the mountains tell every day to anyone who looks. The hard way and the soft way both reach the sea, but the soft way arrives with something left to give. And your day was a kind of mountain, and you came down at one of these two ways, or perhaps a little of both. But tonight it does not matter. The mountain is behind you. The sea is here, wide and dark and waiting. And however you arrived, whether you crashed or flowed, whether you roared or whispered, the sea receives you the same way it receives everything. Gently, completely, without asking how you got here. Breathe in, wide as the sea. Breathe out, and feel the river of your day pouring out into something vast and still and kind. The journey is over. You have arrived. And now the last story, the simplest of them all. It is about a length of bamboo and the secret of its emptiness. High in the mountains, near a temple where monks lived in silence, there was a spring. It came out of the rock face, clear and cold, and it had been flowing since before the temple was built. The monks drank from it, washed in it, and watered their small vegetable garden with it. But the spring was far from the garden, up a steep and rocky path. Every day, a young monk was sent to carry water in heavy buckets, slung on a pole across his shoulders. It took him half the morning, and by the time he arrived, the water was slopping and his shoulders ached and his back was bent like an old man's. One autumn, a new monk arrived at the temple. He was very old and very quiet, and he had come from a monastery far to the south, where they did things differently. He watched the young monk struggling up the path with his heavy buckets for 3 mornings. On the 4th morning, he said, "Come with me." They walked up to the spring together. The old monk cut a length of bamboo from the grove beside the path. It was a long piece, taller than a man, and thick as a forearm. He split one end, fitted it into a crack in the rock where the water flowed, and laid the bamboo along the slope, propping it on stones, angling it gently downhill toward the garden. The water ran in at the top, and it flowed steadily all by itself down through the bamboo and poured out at the bottom into the garden. a steady, clear stream, needing no one to carry it, no one to lift it, no one to strain. The young monk stared. It was so simple. How did I not think of this? The old monk smiled. You did not think of it because you were too busy carrying. You were so full of effort that there was no room for the answer. He tapped the bamboo with his finger. Listen, he said, what makes this work? The young monk looked at the bamboo. It is hollow, he said. Yes, it is hollow. It is empty inside. And because it is empty, the water flows through it. If it were solid, like a stick of wood, the water would hit the top and splash away. It is the emptiness that makes it useful. He looked at the young monk with calm, old eyes. If you want life to flow through you, he said, you must first be empty. Not empty of purpose, not empty of care, empty of resistance, empty of the need to control where the water goes. You're not the water. You are the pipe. Your job is not to push or pull or carry. Your job is to be hollow enough to let it pass through. The young monk sat beside the bamboo for the rest of the afternoon, watching the water flow. It made a soft sound, a kind of singing as it moved through the hollow tube. He did not carry a single bucket that day, or any day after. Dear listener, you have been carrying all day, water in heavy buckets slung across your aching shoulders, responsibilities and decisions and other people's needs. You have been full, so full of effort and worry and the weight of keeping everything moving. But you are not the water. You never were. You are the bamboo. And tonight, lying here in the dark, you can let yourself be hollow. The old man said the highest good is like water. The cook found the spaces between the joints and let his blade flow through. The river let go of its shape and crossed the desert as mist. The fisherman rode away singing, washing his feet in muddy water. The drop fell on the stone again and again for 1,000 years, and the stone opened. The samurai watched the water spill onto the garden floor and could not cut it. 2 rivers reached the sea, but only the gentle one arrived full, and the bamboo stood hollow on the hillside, letting the water sing through it, carrying nothing at all. And you are here, at the end of all the stories, at the bottom of the mountain where the river meets the sea. You do not have to be hard tonight. You do not have to be strong or fast or sharp or right. You could be the softest thing in the world, and that will be enough. You can flow to the lowest place, and that will be the best place. You can let go of your shape, and the wind will carry you. You could be hollow, and the water will sing. The moon is crossing the sky the way a river crosses the land. Slowly, without effort, finding its way by going low, by following the pull, by not resisting anything. And you're crossing the night the same way. Not swimming, not fighting the current, just floating on your back, arms wide, face to the stars, letting the dark, kind water carry you where it has always carried you. Home, to sleep, to the deep, still place where the river ends and the sea begins. Let your breath be the current now, in a slow wave gathering. Out, a slow wave breaking on the shore. In and out, and each wave carries you a little further from the bank, a little deeper into the dark water, a little closer to the wide, wide sea. The river knows the way. It is always known. And tonight, you do not have to know anything at all. Just float. Just breathe. Just let the water hold you. Hush, and hush, and hush. Good night. Sleep deeply, all the way to morning, and let the wide, slow river carry you gently all night long.